So let's go back into the topic, because more than 500 years of colonization, like also globally institutionalized institutions, we had oppression, we had like genocide, ecocide, continuously warfare, what else? Inequality, we have racism, exploitation, what can we say more? And we're always looking for solutions. We want sustainability, we want prosperity, we want resilient cities, we want welfare state, we want it all. But is this the way? Do we have blind spots? Are we moving too fast? Are we moving to where? I think it's now time for me to introduce Milton, and he would like to say something about his journey throughout his like decolonial thinking. I think the personal note, who he is, really reflects on his work, like how he thinks. So please, Milton, thank you so much for being here. Warm applause from the Netherlands. And please bring us into your journey and have a blast in that.
Okay. Ciao to my, ciao. Ciao to Leo. Ciao to my, ciao to Leo.
La bien.
Okay, well, Mari Compuche, hi everyone, Mari everyone there. Thank you for the invitation. Thank you for give me the time, your time to listen my ideas. Or well, Chao asked me about share that with you, and so today I will be talking about decolonization futures. That is something that I have been working maybe 2-3 years back, and the idea of this is of this decolonizing futures is like how we don't colonize the future that we are projecting from today. Yeah, so with the ideas that we want to change today. So basically how we don't reproduce, let's say, I will say very big, like Western hegemonic perspective. How in order to find other futures or other possibilities and things like in order to project future. Yeah, okay, now. So to organize this, as Chalto says, I will start from my personal journey, and I'm a history teacher here in Chile. I was mentioned before, like we have a very colonial curriculum here in Chile concerning Western history, even the construction of the Chilean state. You know, it's like I study before 2002 and 2008 here in Chile history, and we have at the university this curriculum from the 60s, 80s maybe. All this theory about you know, the European debates in the 80s, kind of. Adorno, Honecker, the Frankfurt School in one side, the French post-structuralists, and some of the construction very far away from these guys, from the French from Algeria. I can't remember his name. I constructed too much my brain and I get lost sometimes. I can't find the files. But so having been educated in Chile in this history, it's bring me to this. It's make me really believe on this utopia. If we study better, if we understand better society, if we are more rational, you know, Chile and other countries will become a developed country, and we will not have any more issues of poverty, and then technology will make us happy and more equal, and the market will allow us to supply our needs. You know, all these utopia. So at that time, that come from also from my high school, you know, the education, like the colonial curriculum. So I say, okay, well, let's study, let's understand the society, let's research society, and let's work on what in my findings to collaborate it with the construction of this utopia, because it's good for Chile, for Latin America, and even better for other third country. You know, like there is in this structure, in the global structure, we have third world, developing countries and developed countries, no, of first world. So Chile, we our imaginaria, you know, make us to think as we are in the middle. We are not so poor like Africa countries. But we are in Latin America, and we will become the first Latin American country in become developed country. Yeah, but after some time of studying society in you know, in the main equation was, in order to live as a modern or European country, we need 9 planets. You know, in order to everyone in this planet has the same rights and the same welfare and the same education of European countries, we need 9 planets. So that was my first, you know, mathematical contradiction. So, and then inverse my logic. You know, okay, let's be logic and mathematical about this. If we need 9 planets in order to live like these first world countries, let's apply the inverse algorithm, you know, and you ask, okay, so how much these people need to reduce their rights, their welfare, their democracy, in order to, you know, be set within the resources of this planet. And then how we can, under this logic, what will be the next algorithm in order to calculate how then we will distribute it, natural resources, energy, calories, whatever we can measure, in order to design an equal or more equal or pluriversal, you know, understanding of society, and even but even more distribution of rights. Yeah, like from a material distribution, what will be the social cultural or the social political system or structure that we will build. Yeah, so that is the main idea to talk about futures. Yeah, what is the future, or from this algorithm, you know, that I dream to, you know, programming, and then send EI, okay, can you calculate this, please, and give it us, you know, the amount of calories or the amount of natural resources that each of one in this planet, you know, has, like in a democratical distribution of resources. And from that, what we can build together, you know, like I will agree, I will, you know, share my part, and then I will say, okay, from that, this is my part, what we can build in this more collaborative, democratic. Okay, so, but, well, I will skip this and I will come back. But
Don't skip
God.
it.
Yeah. I also tell you, I was talking before, like normally I have to talk in this very sociological, philosophical context, but I'm, you know, transiting to storytelling. It's easier, and I don't want to fight anymore with pay-per-views and things like. So so okay, when I set this algorithm, you know, and then I need to calculate what are my part. So I have to, you know, come back again in my journey, and I was okay at the high school student who is going to the university, and of course I want to collaborate with a better society, but also I want an apartment, and I want a car, and maybe travel the world, and maybe, you know, have this reach this utopia of welfare in this material welfare, at least a car, you know, in Chile, a nice four-wheel drive going to the mountains, nice one. But then I applied to myself this algorithm that I was thinking about, and then I say, okay, any possibilities to have this, any possibility of have and I was very, my utopia projection was kind of going or taking apart, you know, falling apart. So for that, I and then I was in my, now I can talk about depression. Okay, so because it was, I was building myself, my idea, my narrative, my identity in order to reach this level of professional consumption, let's say, that will allow me and my family to reach this level of comfort and middle class and wherever. And but at the same time I was thinking, yeah, but reaching this point I become also part of the problem, and I will increase inequality. That was at the beginning of my journey my big issue, or my main concern, that I was researching society in order to fix that problem. So it was like a constraint to myself. It was very, I get in my, you know, my now I'm talking about, now I know that it's the your future projections and how you navigate it future concerning your epistemological repair or reference, you know, in that I will talk later about this also. But it's I'm navigating present, looking at future, and my future over there, it's falling apart. In order to become rational, and but more than rational, in order to fit my own values, my own idea, my own moral and ethical concerning equality and democratical distribution of natural resources and all this idea. I just need to ask something here, and just 20 seconds, sorry.
Yeah, of course. I really like your journey from now. So it is really something that, yeah, that's good.
No, my mom is here and she looked at me like, but she's listen. She said she's listen English now.
Ah, she understands it. Oh, that's
No,
right.
no, but she wants to just listen. Okay,
Well,
so I will mix here. Okay, a little. So my then I went to the university. Okay, we need to decolonize knowledge. You know, in this I want to make this emphasis on in this solve problem orientated thinking, rationality, you know, like, so it's I do this because we very focus on solve the problems, you know, solve the problem. And now I have this so let's decolonize knowledge. Okay, let's decolonize knowledge. And I start reading, researching, talking, asking, and then finally you arrive to this perspective in which the ontology and epistemology. Ontology, how you are. I will say how much you are. How much calories do you need in Holland in order to reproduce your daily life? Kind of. Ontology. Then epistemology, how you see the world, you know. And then it's when, according to these theories of decolonization, you look at indigenous people, you know, in order to think, or in order to take their own epistemological cosmological view in order to think the world in another way. Yeah. So utopia decolonization. So then, okay, but first, before goes to the indigenous people, let's say, in order to reserve their own epistemology, what is a Western hegemonic perspective? That was my, I have to define that, you know, in my PhD, I have to define this question. What then, if you will criticize Western hegemonic perspective, what is, you know? And I was in Berlin and in Denmark and in Amsterdam and in Paris and in the USA, listen people like Europeans and Americans like, oh, but there is no such thing as a Western hegemonic perspective. There is not. We are all different, no varied things, similar to others, you know. And so they were refusing my argument, and they were saying, you don't do science, you are projecting your beliefs, you know. And I was like, okay, now I know that is the reductionismo, you know, like they oh, you are reducing your thing, okay. So I have to, okay, what I think it's general for hegemonic Western perspective is this idea of the linear time conception. Yeah, it's a conception of linear time, and then this ontological dualism. Today it's more, you know, the colonial discourse talk about this guy that was Descartes in the Hague. No, Descartes was where in the Hague. No, it's the other city in.
You mean what? Descartes?
Descartes was writing in Utrecht, the other city.
Yeah, the Rotterdam.
The Hague. The Hague.
La Haya.
Yeah, La Haya. Yeah, the Hague.
Yeah.
So this guy separated mind and body, and that is ontological dualism. Yeah, I think, and then mind and body, nature, men separated from nature. We are not animals. We are rationals. Yeah, ontological dualism. And from ontological dualism, we have also this economic extractivism. Yeah, or as we are separated of nature, the way in which we resolve our natural needs, I mean material needs, it's destroying or taking from nature, but also due to capitalism system, we destroy nature in order to create value. So value, it's the destruction of nature. Okay, so we now decolonizing futures again. We all my curriculum says like we need to understand nature, I mean society and research, and some people we create the technology in order to solve the future problems. Other will understand society and science in this kind of very also very you know, the Smith theory on economy, who says the invisible hand. You know that? Yeah, it's a economy. I think scientific thinking also saying think the same. Like for some reason, science will start to talk among them, you know, and finally. Knowledge will advance. Okay, in some cases take place, you know, but for my own experience and the self-critics that exist today in Western knowledge production system, it's also they acknowledge that there is not too much dialogue between science, and we need to promote more that. Okay, but my point was the invisible hand, you know, the God of science will talk, or the God of knowledge, kind of. And okay, so extractivism. That is okay, so again, ontology, how much calories I need per day in order to live here daily in Chile or in Amsterdam. Yeah. So and we create value destructing the with the destruction of nature. And then coming from the Mapuche territory where I live, where I was born, you know, the Wall Mapu that was before, you know, was a territory that was colonized by the Spanish people here, but the Mapuche, you know, they opposite, and Mapuche was a free country, let's say, a free territory, independent territory for 200 years, you know, dealing with the Spanish Imperia, with ambassadors, you know, in its territory, a frontier treaties, and you know, and then in Chile, the Chile become independent of Spain, and then colonize Mapuche territory. So I was looking in my research, uh, my own territory, what was the epistemologies, the Northwestern epistemologies that was here in this territory, and you have instead of this linear conception of time, you have this more circular and very slow, like yeah, you can imagine a year with the rhythm of seasons without your watch. So and then you have time to look at the stars, you know, to the cosmos, you know, the dark become your orientation more than the light. That's very funny because in now we know that in the universe there is more dark than light, and there is more antimateria than materia, and that we only know the 4% of the whole universe. So that also restricted our idea about the light and what we see and what not see. So if science is really focused on what you can see and measure, you know, I will say no Mapuche people itself, you know, but this more, let's say, Abya Latino American original people point of view, it's more concerning in what you cannot see. Okay, but then, so if you look at nature, the nature born, okay, print time, no, spring, summer, autumn, winter, and the next year the next year it's similar, and so at that point there is two things that I will. This is no Mapuche itself. I will say that is my own creation or thinking in order to explain better. But I think when you have a more circular perspective of time, or not even not circular, a spiral, yeah, that's what I mean, you know. But when you when in order to graphic a circle in a blackboard, you need waves. Yeah, but okay, I just want to say spiral. Okay, so in this spiral conception of time, I can see, and I graphic this again myself. It's no Mapuche myself. Like but this perception of time gives you more chance to consider good things and bad things. You know, like bad things also take a place in the conception of reality. You know, and it's very related with the notion of equilibrium. Yeah, equilibrium. But when I look again from my point of view, this Western linear conception of time, I see like positive and negative. And for instance, science wants to look to be the most possible true possible, let's say. You know, you have to be between 95% of certainty until 99.9, you know, and that is true. So, and from this oh, that is correct, I mean, not true, that is correct. And so again in this storytelling narrative, and then you see that science is always not correct. I mean, not right, but correct by between 95 and 99.9% of being right or being correct. So it's very hard to to discuss with or to show them, that, oh, okay, maybe you're not right, but maybe, it's like how how you live, being believing in your system of belief at that level of trust and at that level of, between 99 and 99% of correctness, I call it in English, like you are very correct, very right always, so in that other system, in my explication that I get from thinking or researching the notion of equilibrium on Mapuche people, I saw like this negative thing, it's more accepted. And then this idea again with the linear conception of time, as this idea of death. What is death in this linear time of conception time? What is death? Okay, agnostic people, scientific people, yeah, but so it's agnostic and the other, yeah, okay, but after death, it's we learn in the school, by the scientific thinking that the most possible, there is no life, and it's a creation, a narrative of undeveloped people, indigenous people, other people, tarot people, astronomy, astrology knowledge, and it's, yeah, whatever. But it's very related to that is what differentiates us, the modern, the human, the rational, from indigenous people that think like the trees has life or an entity or a soul, and the mountain also, and the water also, and the universe also, and that is, yeah, okay, what physics trying today or explain in another way, but we have our own construction and explanation about how works that also, that even the Webb telescope cannot see at all. Okay, so but death, and I come back to death and depression, and that is other thing, because what is going on in this ecological crisis, like, by the way, we reach this point by the summatory or the addition of solutions to problems that Western or modern society have confront along the 500 years. We are right to this point of global ecological crisis. So it's a summatory or addition of these solutions that we come out to make to improve life or to improve society or to colonize better other society. We are reached to this point. And if you see in the archaeological evidence, if you see how many societies has emerged, consolidate, and then collapse, and then disappear, and then other society emerge, and other society collapse, consolidate, and then collapse, and then disappear. So, as a historian, I was trying to in dialogue with these other science of archaeology and paleontology, and then you see, okay, the most common thing in the life or in the cycle of civilization, it's collapse, it's disappearing. I mean, it's very normal. It's scientifically proven. I don't know how to say that in 9.9%. It's societies disappear and open the room for other societies. So why we want to stop climate change then? Why we want to not disappear? Why then we want to stop the collapse of this society? Why we want to go again all these logical or natural processes? Why we want to go against that? Why so much focus research focus on avoiding death in order to improve a better life of people. Yeah, okay. I will. That is just provocation, let's say, because the other thing in what I more focus is in the resistance, you know, that we have in order to avoid death, and specifically in this society. So let's say it's infrastructure of utopias, resistance, and emotions. Yeah. What is the why we why don't give up Shell, for instance? You know what I mean? It's we have this again this ontological difference between body and mind, nature and culture, yeah, or human and nature. And so this dualism, I wanna talk about this dualism about if as archaeological evidence says, each one of the former civilization disappear, why we are resistant, or why we don't wanna disappear, or why we don't take this chance of ecological crisis to disappear? Why don't we don't take this chance? You know, and in the other opposite, there is a huge a chance. I mean, to disappear, to concrete. You know, the natural process of every civilization that has lived in this planet. You know, why we opposite that? You know, yeah, okay. So ontological dualism, but then start the neurosis, no, neurosis, you say also in English, no?
Erosion? Erosion?
No, it's like the Freud concept of concerning death.
Yeah, I think you say neurosis.
Neurosis, okay, yeah. So it's start all these neurotical dialogue, you know, like let's stop climate change, let's change this. But in order to change, or in order to reduce 1.5 you know, degrees, or no, in order to reduce, you know, not keep, because okay, well, already that happened. We now we need two degrees, 2 degrees, no? Okay. So yeah, in order to how then we calculated. Okay, so but it's, I think the 9 planet, the equation that 9 planets shows, when you inverse these equations, show us what is the amount of rights and welfare that we need to decrease. I mean, we in European countries, let's say American or developed countries, or this the 10% of the global population that lives, you know, in European welfare material conditions. Because in Chile there is a lot of also of people like lives in better than in Amsterdam. They have the same welfare than in Amsterdam with more big apartment. You know, but it's kind of the same. Or like Copenhagen with 300 meters square apartment for the same price that in Amsterdam. Okay, well, but the same kind of so okay, but I ask also this in euros. Okay, if how you can live in, or how we will decrease, let's say, how in Paris, the media, the minimum wage is 1,500 euros. I don't know in Amsterdam how much it is.
A little less, I think, right?
Okay.
Little.
Okay. How much? Like 1,300?
Maup, help me.
I would say it's a bit higher, but I'm not quite sure, to be really honest. I think it's like maybe 1,800, something like that.
Okay, 1,800.
Oh.
Yeah, I
I'm
think
not
it's
really
like
sure.
yeah. Okay, but Okay, 8. Okay, so let's divide that for 9 and keep one night. How much is that? 200 euros. No? Sorry, my math.
Yeah, I was thinking also like, okay, now we do the math. So who is doing the math here? Who is the math people? Who are the math people? So this amount that Edo just mentioned.
Yeah, it's 200.
Yeah.
Okay,
Yeah.
so okay, let's solve climate change in one step. Okay, you need to reduce everyone in Europe to 200 euros monthly salary or monthly. Okay, or let's give universal salary for everyone in Europe 200 euros, and then you reach like the how you say it, universal global income. I mean, that will be kind of democracy according with the natural resources that you have for you know, concerning these 9 planets. But now we need to decrease yet more because the structure, natural structure is in crisis, no? So yeah, maybe so let's reduce to, let's say, 100. Okay, then the question is how you will live a monthly in Amsterdam with 100 euros. You know, what will be the first problem that you will have? You know, what will the second, the third, and the fourth? Okay, then, you know, it's how well, there is many. Then okay, with that we collapse the system, no? For that is so, but everyone has 100 euros. What will be how you can organize collective in order to, what will be then the design of the city of Amsterdam in order to live with that 100 euros per month per citizen, because that will approach us to the media in the world, and that will very efficient to, you know, to reduce the 2 degrees that now we have to. Okay, so the question is how this well, that is the point here, resistance and emotions. You know, as I told you before, when I was also hoping this nice apartment, not 300 meters square, like 100 meters maybe only, 3 rooms, you know, 500 meters, no, 100 meters here in my city, a nice car. There is a lot of mountains here. You know, you need a nice car to go to the mountains. Maybe in Amsterdam, not. You know, you don't need a car, but here it's. But in order to be rational with this, I need to decrease myself. I mean, it's like I was doing the opposite as I was all this time of my life doing the opposite, and now I need to go to, you know, it's like the rich people when they say, some of them, they say, oh, I fight all my life to get a rich, and when I get there I was alone, and then I understood that that is the thing that I didn't want it. I wanted other thing, but it was too late, and I spent all my life doing things. You know, there is a lot of stories. I have no experience that. It's what they say. No? And okay, so then start this point of the resistance. You know, and I have this. So instead of imagine this. Well, I think the glorious future don't have, nobody of us has this in mind, like, oh, this nice utopia. It's more like dystopia. Yeah, dystopia is what's coming. But at the same time, there is this then how I collaborated with destruction. That is another question that I have now today in my mind, because it's not how I make change. You know, change, it's hope. I mean, it's like, you know, when politicians talk and you say, oh, bullshit, it's kind of the same. It's a nice talk. It's a nice, very well articulated discourse, but it's bullshit, no? Like, we need to collaborate it with destruction, you know? And I think I shared before, or with Chao, I share this talk of this Czech girl talking about the strong transition design and the weak transition design, and how Europe is talking about transitions, and how for instance, in January, people in the Netherlands, in Denmark, are talking about sustainable energy, and that is, you know, it's pretty cruel what is going on in the other side of the world, you know, with the exploitation of minerals and whatever you need to do this, or to construct these sustainable energies. I mean, it's again, eco-colonization and whatever. It's more, sorry, bullshit again, and for 3, for 4, and the thing is, for instance, Sweden retirement system, you know, is investing in Chile most extractivist industries, you know. So in order to pay retirement money in Sweden, we need to destroy nature here, in most part of them in indigenous territory. Also in Colombia it's happened the same, and also across South America is occurring the same, because not indigenous people keep nature. So the land that was not in indigenous hands, or control or property, was destroyed already. So the reservoirs of these materials that we need are on indigenous land, or virgin, like the. So with hope, we continue destroying this system. With this discourse of sustainable energy, we continue destroying what is keep, you know. So every time the inverse algorithm reduce euros for you in Europe, you know, like. So, but so today maybe it's no 100, you are maybe in 80, and you know, it's I don't know why they don't show the things like that, and the numbers, if they have the understanding. Okay, but again, coming back to depression, because when I was discussing this to my students in Copenhagen, they oh, you put themselves in more depression that they already had. No, it's like, oh fuck, no future for us now. No car, no apartment, no vacations around the world. What the fuck? So, but that is the other problem, you know, like, okay, and you need to act toward what? And this guy is telling me that we need to act towards death, and we need to just die in order to leave room and space for others that also want to emerge. So yeah, I think that I will try to close. I think we have 5 minutes, no, kind of.
Yeah,
8 minutes.
Yeah, but the idea is that we maybe collect some questions for you. I think that we all have now some reflections. Maybe we can do that with a short break. And within the break, we can think about questions. But would you like to round up before the break? And then we're going to do the break. And then after that, we're going to have this nice dialogues. And it's like a free space for asking questions and for just, you know, sharing your thoughts and ideas. So would you like to round up with an last idea, Milton? Something that we can...
Yeah, just to close that point, but it's I was talking about, well, I think for that I like storytelling, you know. I can't I know more because in structured I feel like myself, but that gives me more room to explore all these different things that. But okay, I think I would like to try to think in another way about death. Yeah, and you know, it's Weber who talk about this mystification of reality, and I think we need to mystify reality, and also acknowledge that all these how you say animalist or thinking or magic thinking, you know, it's kind of a huge percentage of our mind and our definition as a human being. We have all, you know, again, this idea of human, the definition of human being, like rational, and okay, and we have an emotional side also, but we can also understand the emotional side. You know, it's like this let's say algorithm. I will also inverse with the logic of like what is the percentage of what is the percentage that we know about the universe, you know. And there is this astronomer who is saying we know approximately 4% of the universe. So I will say the human mind, that is what we know, the 4%. And it's a lot. It seems to be a lot, you know. But what are the other possibilities about human experience? About what is, and I will ask this question about death. You know, what is about after death? You know, um, the sun. You know, okay, the sun. You know, will disappear in I don't know how many years. It will explode, eat the earth, and become a white white enana. I don't know what to say, but a little white star, you know. And then that will get the first theory that it's then this white star will become like a stone, a cold stone. But now the theory says after the supernova, always from the explosion of a star, there is this a ton of minerals that will build again in other composition, and they will create more life in unimaginable ways, you know. And then they have also this idea that the universe, and so I don't know how many trillions of years, it will also become cold, and then will collapse again. And the last documentary that I saw about it, they don't say that it will start again. They say, oh, and now that disappear, there is many multi-universe, you know, and or with their own different physics of law, you know. And okay, so our universe is a grain in the beach of this, what is the multi-universe. Yeah. So okay, how from that conclusion that science is arriving to this point or this logic, we can connect again with the same stories that indigenous people were explaining the world, you know, like this tree has 800 years, has known you 4 generations of your family back, you know, has extremely sensorial to pain, you know. Plants can feeling 8 times are more, you know, if you English words. Okay, they are more sensitive than animals. Plants are, yeah, and that's they show also scientifically, yeah, whatever. And but yeah, that is how we the last example about your territory. You know, if the nature is collapsing, you know, what we have to learn about that. Why we don't want to collapse also? Why we don't embrace that? Why we want to continue separated? If you know, so embrace and liberated of self that the epistemological barrier of death. You know, it's working like a barrier. We cannot thinking more after that. And I think there is a lot of let's make a supernova of this death conception, because, you know, if we can arrive to make it explode, maybe there is many other futures possibilities after death, and that is what we have to deal with that now, accept that. Okay, with that I finish. Thank you, Charles.
Thank you so much. Well, I think this is really amazing for us to reflect on. So first, Cheltumai, for your knowledge, your kimun. I was thinking also to get now a cup of tea and to have a little bit kind of reflection and come back. And I hope that you all come back and that you all reflect on the things that you have said, and we start to have this dialogue, because I think in the decolonial settings, we never talk about that. We always talk about reformation, like reform, change, but no talks about that, or survival, or in any way like those kind of scenarios. So hopefully we see you soon.